Let's see. I will give you a quick rundown of what's happening because it's kind of slow during the summer, and then I'll create some space for questions. Legislative updates. We have been working hard in Lansing. The biggest issue that we are facing right now is Medicaid redetermination process. Yeah, so is that you? Yeah.
We'll talk to you about it next month. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Well, what I want to shout out is, especially in communities that are underserved, that a lot of times the contact information is not accurate or not current on your account. And the state is going through 3 million applications or eligibility status to make sure that people are still getting their Medicaid that they need. But 700,000 new cases were brought on during COVID, and that was because the federal government guaranteed them. And now that the COVID restrictions or support has been rolled back, not all of those people will still be eligible based on income and other factors. So if you know someone who's on Medicaid, tell them to keep their eyes open for the contact that will be coming. They need to send that back and just make sure their contact information is up to date. Because of the people that they need to reach out to in the next year, and it'll be a month-to-month rolling basis. And so if you're eligible in June, your redetermination will be in June. If you're in September, then it'll be in September. Because otherwise we will have another UIA disaster because there's just too many people and not enough personnel in the department to process those all. Did I say anything wrong? I know there's more to it. But that I don't want anyone showing up for a medical procedure and realizing that they're not covered. Right. So this is nonpartisan, but I'm going to say with the change of leadership at the state level, we've seen agenda items move that have not moved for 40 years. We were able to, what is on the list? We were able to come up with a formulation for restoring the earned income tax credit to 30%. It was down to 6%. Yes. That is huge for our working families. That is putting dollars back in the pockets of the families that are working hard and need it the most. We were able to repeal the senior retirement pension tax. And a lot of people said, right? Thank you, SEIU. Because it took a lot of pressure and to say, we need to stop giving corporate tax breaks, and we need to make sure that the tax breaks are proportionately impacting the people that need them the most. And so that looks like not just pensions. It also looks like tax relief for IRAs, 401ks, and it helps provide tax relief up to $1,000 a year for our seniors. So it is a 4-year implementation. It's a rolling basis. It's just how we had to do it. If you have questions about where your eligibility is, reach out to our office. Make sure your Devin has your contact information before you leave. We also restored workers' rights to organize, workers' rights to unionize. We're restoring rights to collectively bargain the value of their labor, to repeal right to work legislation, restore prevailing wage. We know that our country, our community does best when workers are paid what they're worth.
Yes.
So glad you guys are here. Because you know. I was at MEA, I was a teacher, like I said, for 14 years, so we had these struggles too. We heard voters on Proposal 3, and Michigan had one of the most antiquated abortion laws on the record, which was the 1931 restriction, and we got them off the books. We implemented and expanded civil rights protections for Michigan's LGBTQ residents and made sure that they're enshrined in the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. The Senate passed, not just the Senate, the legislature adopted and the governor signed in a package of gun violence prevention legislation, including universal background checks because everyone should be held to the same standards, safe storage around children because we know those should not be around children, and if you're a responsible gun owner, you know it, you'd keep them safe. And then extreme risk protection orders that flags, it allows close family to flag mental health issues or threats of violence and allows courts to run through due process to make sure guns are taken out of households where people who are an immediate threat to themselves, because the number one risk for gun violence is suicide. And we need to remember that. The number one risk is someone who is suicidal thoughts being too close to something that is going to make that irreversible decision. I thought I was going to go to Lansing and work on just education because I'm a teacher, but I've worked on youth homeless package, which should be up for a vote out of committee. We've worked on it for almost 2 years, and this would extend the window for youth that are not safe at home and seeking shelter in a formalized system from 24 hours to 72 hours, because we know when situations are escalated, sometimes it's difficult. Ultimately, the goal is reunification of families, but we need to create that space and protective space for young people, because we know that these are the young people that are at risk of exploitation and human trafficking. And so we need to make sure that they have access to that care. I had a parent ask me if individuals who have aged out of infant changing tables but have physical disability needs to access for diapering or changing. Her son Liam was 5. He couldn't fit on an infant changing table, and their options was if there was a counter in the bathroom that supported his weight or a dirty bathroom floor. And that's not all right. Or the back of a minivan wide open in a parking lot, which isn't safe. And so there is equipment that is universal, height adjustable, fully automated, and we want to start incorporating these into as many large venues as possible, public venues. And we were able to secure a $100,000 grant, and we are partnering, the state capitol as part of their new renovation is going to incorporate this technology, because I can't think of any place better than the People's House to make sure everyone has access to it. But we're working with, we'd love to see it at the Detroit Zoo, we'd love to see it at all of the sports arenas, because if you are offering entertainment to a facility of 40,000, 50,000 people, think about how many more people can enjoy it, because it's not just a person with disability, it's their family, it's their friends who choose to stay home when they don't have access to appropriate facilities. Has anyone heard of Kratom? Oh, good. Not too many people have heard of Kratom, but Kratom is a substance that was brought back during Vietnam. It's a plant on a tree, but it intersects with opioid use, abuse, and recovery, because it's often promoted as a substance that should be substituted, or a natural holistic recovery. And the problem is people who have a propensity to abuse opioids or addiction then become addicted to Kratom. And we have had people die from Kratom toxicity. And so when people first hear about this, they just go, I've never heard about this before. Once people hear about it and you drive by a gas station, a tobacco shop, a head shop, you will never not see the word Kratom, K-R-A-T-O-M again. It's gotten a lot of education lately, but there's so much more that we need to do about this. And just raise awareness and talking about it. Those are just a handful of things that I'm working on, but what I really want to do is create space for your questions, your thoughts, so I can take them back to keep working on them. So, who wants to start us out? Who's got a hot topic? I see hands.